My 10-year-old grandson was left at the airport by my daughter-in-law, like forgotten luggage, while she boarded a plane with my son and her children to go on a 2-week vacation. Later, she sent me a message. I decided that he is being punished and will stay at home. But instead of getting angry, I took action. And in just 3 days, their idyllic vacation turned into a nightmare of revenge. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and let us know where you are listening in the comments. The small figure sitting alone on the bench near Gate 47 hit me like a punch to the gut. Even from 50 feet away, I recognized the slumped shoulders, the green backpack with the rocket ship patch. Ethan. My grandson sat there like forgotten luggage, staring through the window at the plane that should have carried him to paradise. The Hawaii-bound aircraft gleamed in the March sunlight, passengers still boarding. Somewhere in that line were my son Travis, his wife Ashley, and their 2 younger kids, Madison and Kyle. But not Ethan. I quickened my pace, my architect's mind already calculating angles, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. I'd driven here to wish them all safe travels, to see them off on the vacation I'd paid for. $15,000 from my retirement savings, meant to give my whole family 2 weeks in paradise. Ethan, my voice came out steadier than I felt. What are you doing out here, buddy? His head snapped up. Those dark eyes, so much like his late mother's, were red-rimmed and wet. He tried to smile, tried to be brave, but his chin trembled. Grandpa, they left without me. The words hung in the air like smoke. I lowered myself onto the bench, my knees protesting. 67 years old, and I'd never felt older. What do you mean? We got here early. I was so excited, Grandpa. I had my swimsuit and my backpack and everything. His voice cracked. But then Ashley said I needed to use the bathroom before we boarded. When I came back, she said I'd been bad this week and that I couldn't go. She said I was being punished. My phone vibrated. I pulled it out with fingers that didn't quite feel like my own. A text from Ashley sent 3 minutes ago. Decided he's grounded and stays home. Bye. No explanation, no apology. Just those 8 words, punctuated with an exclamation point like she was announcing a lunch date. I read it twice, 3 times. The letters rearranged themselves, but they always said the same thing. She'd left my 10-year-old grandson alone in an airport and sent me a text like it was nothing. The phone creaked under my grip. My knuckles had gone white around the case. Grandpa? Ethan's small voice pulled me back. Are you mad at me too? I looked at him then, really looked at him. His hair needed cutting. His jeans were too short, like he'd grown without anyone noticing. When had Ashley last taken him shopping? When had Travis? Nobody. I slipped the phone away and put my arm around his shoulders. I'm not mad at you, not even a little bit. Ashley says I'm too much trouble, that I don't listen. He wiped his nose on his sleeve. Maybe she's right. Maybe I am bad. Something cold and sharp settled in my chest. It wasn't anger, not yet. It was something clearer, harder. Like the moment when a blueprint finally makes sense, when all the calculations align. You're not bad, Ethan. You're not trouble. I stood and offered him my hand. Come on, let's go home. He took my hand, his palm small and sweaty. What about Hawaii? They can have Hawaii. I picked up his backpack, feeling its disappointing lightness. You and I will figure something out, something better. We walked through the terminal in silence. Around us, families laughed and rushed toward gates, dragging suitcases and herding excited children. No one looked at us. No one saw a grandfather whose family had just shown him exactly how little his generosity meant. I glanced down at Ethan. He was trying so hard not to cry anymore, setting his jaw the way Travis used to as a child. Funny how genetics work, how traits skip generations and show up in unexpected places. My son was on that plane right now, sitting in a seat I'd paid for next to a woman who'd just abandoned his firstborn in an airport, and he'd let her. That was the part that burned. Travis had let her do this. The parking garage smelled like exhaust and stale air. I loaded Ethan into my Silverado, the same truck I'd taught Travis to drive 25 years ago. The leather seats were cracked now, the dashboard faded, but the engine still purred. Can we get ice cream? Ethan asked quietly. Absolutely. I checked my mirrors, backed out. Rocky Road? With gummy bears on top? The whole bag if you want. He smiled then, just a little. It didn't reach his eyes, but it was something. As I merged onto the highway back to Orlando, my mind was already working. 40 years in architecture had taught me how to see structures, how to find weak points, how to understand what holds buildings up and what makes them fall. The phone sat in my cup holder, Ashley's message still glowing. 8 words. She probably thought she was clever, in control. She'd probably convinced Travis this was reasonable. I merged into the left lane and pressed the accelerator. Ethan had fallen asleep by the time I pulled into my driveway. His head rested against the window, mouth slightly open. I sat there, engine idling, looking at my house. The house I'd designed myself. The house where Travis and Ashley had been living, rent-free for 4 years. The house that was still, legally and completely, mine. I carried Ethan inside and laid him on the couch, covering him with the old quilt. He didn't stir. The kid was exhausted, emotionally drained in the way only children can be when adults fail them. I stood in my kitchen and let myself feel it. Not just anger, something colder, more surgical. Ashley had made a calculation today. She'd decided her comfort was worth more than a 10-year-old boy's dignity. She'd decided I would just accept this, clean up her mess, keep quiet like always. She'd miscalculated. Tomorrow, I'd start making calls. But tonight, I sat in my armchair and watched Ethan sleep. This kid who'd lost his mother too young and was now being erased by a woman who saw him as nothing but an inconvenience. Not on my watch. Not anymore. The house was too quiet after Ethan went to bed around 9. I'd made him dinner, chicken nuggets and mac and cheese, and we'd watched a movie together. He'd laughed a few times, which felt like a miracle. But when I tucked him into the guest room, I saw that distant look in his eyes again. I sat in my study, surrounded by 40 years of blueprints and awards, and let myself remember. I remembered the call 5 years ago. Travis's voice on the phone, broken and raw. "Dad, she's gone. Julia's gone." A car accident on I-4. Some texting teenager who ran a red light. Julia died at the scene. Ethan was 5 years old. I'd driven to their apartment that night and found Travis sitting on the floor, still in his work clothes, staring at nothing. Ethan was asleep in his bedroom, oblivious. I'd sat with my son until morning, not saying much, just being there. The next few months were rough. Travis was a zombie, just going through motions. I'd taken Ethan most weekends, sometimes whole weeks. We'd built a treehouse together that summer. While I built it, he handed me tools and told me stories about dragons. That kid had his mother's imagination. "Grandpa, will Dad be okay?" He'd asked one afternoon, his hands covered in wood stain. "He will," I'd promised. "It just takes time." I'd believed that. I'd believed Travis would heal, that we'd figure it out as a family, that Ethan would grow up knowing he was loved. Then Ashley appeared. They met at Travis's company holiday party, about 18 months after Julia's death. Ashley was vibrant, charming, always smiling. She worked in marketing, knew how to make people feel special. Travis lit up around her in ways I hadn't seen since before Julia died. "She's amazing, Dad," he'd told me after their third date. "She's so good with Ethan. She could be really good for us." I'd wanted to believe it. So when Travis introduced me to Ashley properly, I'd smiled and told her I was glad to meet her. The early signs were subtle. I noticed them, but I told myself I was being paranoid, overprotective. At Travis and Ashley's wedding, there was a moment during the family photos. The photographer wanted a shot of just Travis, Ashley, and their kids. Madison was 2. Ashley's from a previous relationship. Ethan had stepped forward to join them, and Ashley had placed a hand on his shoulder, gently but firmly guiding him back. "Just my daughter for this one, sweetie," she'd said with that bright smile. Travis hadn't said anything. I'd watched him avoid Ethan's confused eyes. After the wedding, they'd needed a place to stay. "Just temporarily, Dad," Travis had assured me, "until we find something." My house was big enough. 4 years later, they were still there. I'd watched the pattern develop. Ashley would make dinner, but forget to call Ethan until everyone else had been served. His portions were smaller. His birthday presents cost less than Madison's or Kyle's. Kyle was 2 now, Ashley and Travis's son together. When Ethan made the honor roll, Ashley barely acknowledged it. When Kyle learned to use the potty, there was a full celebration. "She's just busy with the little ones," Travis would say when I pointed it out. "You know how it is with toddlers." I did know. I'd raised Travis and his sister. I'd never been too busy to celebrate my kids' achievements, no matter how small. The financial reality was something I'd been avoiding, but sitting in my study that night, I made myself pull out the files. The house deed with my name alone on it. The loan statements for the Audi Q7 I'd co-signed for, a wedding present Ashley had requested, the credit card bills that came to my address because I was the primary account holder. I did the math. Over 4 years, I'd subsidized their lifestyle to the tune of at least $200,000. The house alone would have cost them $3,600 a month to rent in this neighborhood. $200,000, and today Ashley had decided my grandson wasn't worth a seat on an airplane. I remembered Ethan's 5th birthday, a month after Julia died. I'd thrown him a party at my house because Travis wasn't capable of organizing anything. 20 kids, a bounce house, a dinosaur cake. Ethan had hugged me so hard that day. "You're the best grandpa ever," he'd said, his face sticky with frosting. "You're the best grandson ever," I'd told him. I'd meant it. I still meant it. What had happened to that promise? When had I become complicit in Ashley's systematic erasure of this kid? I'd told myself I was keeping the peace, being supportive. But the truth was uglier. I'd been a coward. I'd watched it happen and done nothing. Until today. I looked at the clock. Nearly midnight. In Hawaii, it was 6 p.m. Travis and Ashley would be settling into their hotel, probably enjoying sunset drinks while Madison and Kyle played in the sand, living it up on my dime. My phone sat on the desk, still showing Ashley's message. Decided he's grounded and stays home. Bye! The casual cruelty of it still made my chest tight. But beneath the anger, something else was forming. Something cold and precise. Architecture had taught me that the most elegant solutions are often the simplest. You don't need complicated schemes or dramatic confrontations. You just need to know which support beam to remove. I opened my laptop and started making notes. Names, numbers, account information. By 2 a.m. I had a list. By 3 I had a plan. It wasn't complicated. It was remarkably straightforward, which made me smile for the first time since the airport. 40 years of building had taught me construction, but it had also taught me demolition. And sometimes, demolition is the only path forward. I checked on Ethan one more time before bed. He was sprawled across the mattress, one arm hanging off the side, deeply asleep. His face was peaceful now, younger looking in sleep. "It's going to be okay, buddy," I whispered. "I promise." This time, I meant to keep that promise. No more being quiet. No more keeping the peace. Ashley had made her choice today when she left him in that airport. Now it was my turn to make mine. The next 3 days passed in a strange kind of clarity. Ethan stayed with me, sleeping in Travis's old room, and I told him his dad and Ashley were having some time away. He seemed relieved more than upset, which told me everything. I spent those days doing what architects do best, analyzing structures. Only this time, the structure was my own life. On the morning after the airport, I pulled out my file cabinet. Property deed for the house, purchased 20 years ago, entirely in my name. Mortgage paid off in 2015. Current market value, $950,000. Travis and Ashley had been living here rent-free for 4 years. I did the math. Comparable rentals ran $3,600 a month. That was $172,000 in housing alone. But it didn't stop there. I found the paperwork for the Audi Q7. Ashley had wanted it as a wedding present. I'd co-signed the loan, $48,000. They'd made maybe 6 payments before money got tight. Guess who'd been covering it? Then the credit cards. 5 of them, all with my name as primary account holder. Ashley was an authorized user on all. I pulled up the statements online, going back 4 years. Nordstrom, Sephora, Whole Foods, SoulCycle Premium Membership, $600 a month, Louis Vuitton, Tiffany. The charges went on, a parade of Ashley's lifestyle, funded by my retirement account. The total made me set down my pen and laugh. Not a happy laugh. The kind that comes when something is so absurd you can't believe it's real. $214,000. Over 4 years. That was the price tag for my silence, apparently. The cost of not making waves while my grandson got pushed to the margins. "Grandpa?" Ethan appeared in my study doorway, holding his math workbook. "Can you help me with fractions?" "Of course, buddy." I closed the files. "Pull up a chair." As I helped him, I watched him. Really watched. He was careful with the pencil, double-checking his work, nervous about mistakes. That wasn't how kids should approach homework. That was how kids approached it when mistakes felt catastrophic. "You're doing great," I told him when he got an answer right. His whole face lit up. "Really? Really? You're smart, Ethan. You know that, right?" He shrugged. "Ashley says I need to try harder, that I'm not as quick as Madison." Madison was 7. Ethan was 10. Different grades entirely. Ashley doesn't know what she's talking about. After Ethan went to play outside, I made coffee and stood at the kitchen window, watching him climb the old oak tree. My mind kept circling back to that number, $214,000. And for what? So Ashley could play Lady of the Manor? So Travis could avoid growing up? So they could both pretend Ethan didn't exist while living in a house I'd built with my own hands? I thought about all the times I'd bitten my tongue, all the times I'd watched Ashley forget to include Ethan in family photos, or serve him smaller portions, or roll her eyes when he tried to talk to her. All the times Travis looked away, too weak to stand up for his own son. I'd told myself I was being supportive, patient, understanding. What I'd actually been was a doormat, an ATM with a heartbeat. The house phone rang and I let it go to voicemail. Probably Travis, calling from Hawaii to explain. I wasn't interested in his explanations. That evening, after Ethan was asleep, I took my laptop to the back porch and started researching. Florida property law, tenant rights, what constitutes legal residency versus being a guest, the difference between having a rental agreement and just living somewhere with permission. The more I read, the more interesting things became. My phone buzzed. A text from Ashley. "Walter, this is childish. We need to talk about Ethan's behavior issues when we get back." Ethan's behavior issues. That was rich. The kid's only issue was that he existed. I typed back, "Enjoy your vacation." Then I blocked her number. By midnight, I had filled a legal pad with notes. Attorneys specializing in family property law. Customer service for every credit card company. Our auto insurance provider. The phone number for the hotel in Maui. All 7 nights. Premium ocean view. $1,200 a night. I'd paid for their paradise. Every single cent. And suddenly, sitting there in the dark with crickets chirping and Ethan safe asleep upstairs, I understood something fundamental. The power in this situation had always been mine. I'd just been too busy being nice to use it. Travis and Ashley had built their entire life on my foundation, literally and figuratively. They'd gotten comfortable, complacent. They thought I'd never pull the rug out because I never had before. They'd forgotten something important about architects. We don't just know how to build, we know how to demolish, and we know exactly which supports to remove to bring the whole structure down. I looked at my notes, at the list of phone numbers and account information, at the house deed, at the calendar showing March 13th. They'd left yesterday, which meant they had 12 more days in Hawaii. Plenty of time. I picked up my phone and scrolled through my contacts. I had work to do, starting tomorrow morning. But first, I texted Ethan's friend's mom. "Change of plans. Ethan's staying with me for a while." Then I opened a new note on my phone and titled it, "Project Demolition." The list started simple. Lawyer consultation bank, credit cards insurance, vehicles, hotel, Hawaii. I smiled at the screen. After 40 years of building things, I was about to find out how satisfying it could be to tear them down. Norman Gilbert's office was in a converted Victorian downtown, all dark wood and leather furniture that smelled like old books. I'd never needed a lawyer before, but I'd heard Norman's name around town. He had a reputation for being thorough, discreet, and effective. "Mr. Thornton," he shook my hand. "What can I do for you?" I laid it out. The house, the lack of rental agreement, 4 years of free living. I kept my voice neutral, factual. Let the numbers speak. Norman listened, making notes. When I finished, he leaned back. "Let me make sure I understand. Your son and his wife live in your house. No lease, no rental agreement. They don't pay rent, utilities, or property taxes. Correct. And the house is solely in your name. Purchased before either of my marriages. Only my name on the deed." He tapped his pen against the pad. "Then legally, they're guests in your home. You have the right to ask them to leave. Florida law requires reasonable notice, typically 15 to 30 days for someone residing in a property, even without a formal agreement." 15 days. That's reasonable. I can draw up the paperwork today. A formal notice to vacate. He paused. May I ask what prompted this? I told him about Ethan, about the airport. Norman's expression didn't change, but something shifted in his eyes. I see, he said quietly. And the child is with you now? He is. Good. He pulled out fresh paper. Let's also discuss custody arrangements. If your son agrees to let the boy live with you permanently, we should formalize that. I left Norman's office an hour later with documents and a follow-up appointment. The eviction notice would be delivered March 16th, giving Travis and Ashley exactly 15 days from when they returned. Next stop, the bank. The branch manager, Patricia, had handled my accounts for 15 years. Mr. Thornton, how are you? I need to make changes to my credit card accounts. We sat in her office while I went through each card. I want to remove Ashley Thornton as an authorized user on all of these, effective immediately. Patricia's fingers flew over her keyboard. All 5 cards? All 5. And these joint accounts with Travis Thornton? Freeze them, no new charges. She glanced up, curious but professional. Done. Change is effective within 24 hours. Perfect. One more thing. The auto loan for the Audi Q7. I'm listed as co-signer. I want to be removed. That requires the primary borrower to refinance or pay off the loan. I understand. She made notes. If Mr. Thornton defaults while you're still on it, you'll be liable. Then remove me today and notify him he has 30 days to refinance or return the vehicle. Her eyebrows rose slightly. I'll process that immediately. From the bank, I called the insurance company. Shorter conversation. I need to remove a vehicle from my policy. The Audi Q7, effective March 15th. That's in 2 days, Mr. Thornton. Correct. After hanging up, I sat in my truck and pulled out my phone. The hotel in Maui answered on the 3rd ring. Wailea Beach Resort. This is Lorena. How may I help you? Hi, Lorena. Walter Thornton. I have a reservation under my name. I need to make some changes. Of course, Mr. Thornton. One moment. A pause. Yes, I see your reservation. Ocean View Premium Suite. Checking out March 22nd. I need to cancel the prepayment. I'll be requesting a refund to my credit card. Another pause. Longer. Mr. Thornton, the guests have already checked in. They arrived yesterday. I understand. The guests can remain if they'd like, but they'll need to provide their own payment going forward. The guests will need to provide alternate payment within 24 hours, or we'll have to move them to different accommodation. That sounds reasonable. May I ask, is there a problem with the reservation? There was a miscommunication about who would be attending this vacation. I could hear the understanding in her voice. I see. We'll contact the guests this evening about the payment change. Anything else? Actually, yes. Do you have availability in a standard room? Something more economical? We do. Our garden view rooms are $200 per night. Perfect. Let them know that's an option. After I hung up, I allowed myself a small smile. Travis and Ashley were in Hawaii right now, probably lounging by the pool, drinks in hand, living the dream on my dime. Tomorrow morning, that dream was going to develop cracks. I drove home, where Ethan was doing homework at the kitchen table. Did you have a good day, Grandpa? Very productive. I ruffled his hair. How about pizza for dinner? Can we get the one with stuffed crust? Absolutely. While Ethan went back to homework, I sent one more email to the travel agency that had arranged tours and excursions. Snorkeling, helicopter tour, fancy luau, all paid for with a gift certificate I'd purchased. I need to cancel gift certificate number GC449832. Please process a refund. I hit send and closed the laptop. My phone sat silent. No calls from Hawaii yet. Too busy enjoying their family vacation, the family that apparently didn't include Ethan. I looked at the calendar. March 13th. In exactly 3 days, Ashley would try to use a credit card and find it declined. The hotel would inform them their room was no longer paid for, tours canceled, and on their doorstep an eviction notice would be waiting. I thought about texting Travis, giving him a heads up. That's what the old Walter would have done. But that Walter had died at gate 47. This Walter had work to do. I sent Ethan a text. Get ready, kid. Next week we're redecorating your room. Any color you want? His response came immediately. Really? Even blue? Even blue. Then I turned my phone to silent and started making pizza. March 14th, day 2 of their Hawaiian vacation. I woke early, made Ethan breakfast, and dropped him at a friend's house. Then I came home, poured coffee, and waited. The first domino should be falling right about now. In Maui, it would be around 8 in the morning. Ashley would be having her poolside breakfast, probably planning her day. Spa appointment at 10. Lunch at that overpriced beachfront restaurant. All on my dime, except it wasn't my dime anymore. My phone buzzed at 11:47 a.m. A text from Travis. "Dad, can you call me? Having some issues with the cards." I set the phone down and took another sip. Issues with the cards. One way to put it. I didn't call back. Instead, "Busy today. Everything okay?" 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. "Cards aren't working. All of them. Can you check your account?" "My account is fine. Just checked this morning." More dots. I could practically feel his confusion. That doesn't make sense. Ashley's cards aren't working either. Strange. Maybe call the bank? I was enjoying this more than I should have. Each text was confirmation that my plan was working exactly as designed. The real satisfaction came an hour later. My phone rang. Unknown number, 808 area code. Hawaii. "Mr. Thornton, this is Lorena Vasquez from the Wiley Beach Resort." "Yes, Lorena. How can I help?" "I'm calling to confirm. We processed the refund as requested. The guests have been notified they'll need to provide alternative payment for the remainder of their stay." "Perfect. How did that conversation go?" There was a pause. Professional discretion warring with the desire to share what was clearly memorable. "Mrs. Thornton was surprised. She's currently speaking with our front desk manager about room options." "I appreciate your help, Lorena." "Of course." And Mr. Thornton, "For what it's worth, we deal with many families here. What you described about your grandson," she trailed off. "Well, I hope everything works out." "Thank you. It will." After hanging up, I pictured it. Ashley in her designer resort wear, standing at that polished desk. The smile sliding off her face as Lorena explained the $1,200 a night room was no longer prepaid. The manager offering the garden view option for $200 a night. The realization that she'd have to pay herself. I checked my watch. In Hawaii, 8:15 in the morning. They'd have just gotten the news. Ashley was probably frantically calling Travis, who was probably frantically calling the bank, who was probably very politely explaining that the account holder, me, had removed her as an authorized user. My phone rang again. Travis. I let it go to voicemail. Then I opened my laptop and logged into the travel portal. Found their excursions. Helicopter tour, canceled. Snorkeling, canceled. Sunset cruise, canceled. The luau, canceled. Gift certificate, GC 449832, purchased by Walter Thornton, revoked. Refund, processed. I sat back and looked around my kitchen. My house, the house I'd built, that I'd let them live in free while they spent my money on everything else. Ethan's lunchbox was on the counter from this morning. I'd packed it. Sandwich cut into triangles, apple slices, juice box, and a note. "You're awesome." He'd read it at breakfast and smiled so wide. When was the last time Ashley had done anything for him beyond bare minimum? My phone buzzed. Another text. "Dad, seriously, we need to talk. Something's wrong with all the accounts." I typed back deliberately. "Nothing wrong on my end." "Maybe it's a problem with your spending." 3 dots stayed there for a long time, then disappeared without a message. I imagined Travis showing that to Ashley, her face when she realized I knew, that this wasn't technical glitch or bank error, that it was intentional. By evening, 7 more calls from Travis, 3 from unknown Hawaii numbers, increasingly frantic texts. The last came at 6:32 p.m. "We need to move to a different room. They're charging us $200 a night now. Dad, please, what's going on?" I stared at that message. Part of me, the old doormat part, wanted to cave, to call back, to explain, to make it all okay. But then I remembered Ethan's face at the airport, the way he'd tried so hard not to cry, the way he'd asked if he was bad. I deleted the message. At 7, I picked Ethan up. He was happy, animated, telling me about the Lego castle they'd built. "Can Tommy come over sometime?" "Of course, maybe this weekend." "Really?" He looked at me like I'd offered him the moon. "Really? This is your house, too. You can have friends over whenever you want." He was quiet. Then, "Ashley always said Tommy was too loud." "Well," I said carefully, "Ashley's not here now, and when she gets back, things are going to be different." "Different how?" "Better. things are going to be better. That night, after Ethan slept, I sat on the back porch with a beer and my phone. Travis had finally stopped calling. In Hawaii, they were probably in their new room now. The garden view room costing a fraction of what they'd expected. The room they'd have to pay for themselves, with credit cards that didn't work. I pulled up photos and found Ethan's 10th birthday 6 months ago. There we were, him and me, with the cake I'd bought and decorated. Travis was in the background, looking at his phone. Ashley wasn't in the shot. She'd been busy. Tomorrow was March 15th, day 3, and I had more surprises waiting. I spent March 15th morning doing ordinary things, made pancakes with Ethan, helped with reading homework, took him to the park and pushed him on the swings while he laughed in a way I hadn't heard in months. My phone stayed in my pocket, silent except for occasional buzzes I ignored. After lunch, when Ethan was absorbed in a movie, I finally checked my messages. 16 missed calls, 23 texts. I scrolled through them with my coffee, enjoying every word. Travis, 9:47 a.m. Hawaii time. Dad, the rental car company just called. They're taking back the car. Something about insurance? Please call. Travis, 10:23 a.m. We can't do any tours. They're all canceled. The agency says you canceled them. Why? Travis, 11:15 a.m. Ashley is freaking out. We can't even get an Uber because none of the cards work. We're stuck. And then Travis, 2:34 p.m. What the hell is going on? No more. Dad, please. He'd figured it out. My phone rang. Travis. This time I answered. Hello, son? Dad. His voice was tight, controlled. Someone trying hard not to explode. What are you doing? Me? I'm having a lovely day with Ethan. We went to the park. He went down the slide 17 times. Silence. I could hear Ashley in the background, voice sharp and angry. The credit cards, Travis said finally. The hotel. The rental car. The tours. This is you. Is it? Dad, this isn't funny. We're stuck here. We can't what? Can't enjoy the vacation I paid for? The vacation you left Ethan out of? More silence. Ashley's voice got louder. It was a misunderstanding, Travis started. A misunderstanding? I set down my cup. Travis, she left him in an airport. A 10-year-old child. She sent me a text saying she'd decided he was grounded. Just abandoned him there and got on the plane. She was upset. He'd been acting out. He's 10. Kids act out. You don't abandon them in a busy airport and fly to Hawaii. Dad, please, his voice cracked. We need your help. We can't get home without my money, without my credit cards, without my house to come back to. A pause. What do you mean, your house? I smiled. He hadn't gotten that email yet. Check your messages. You should have something from Norman Gilbert. Who? My attorney. He sent you both an email this morning. Might have gone to spam. I heard rustling, Ashley's voice getting insistent. Then Travis, hollow. An eviction notice. You're evicting us? Technically, notice to vacate, since you don't have a lease, 15 days from when you return. You can't do this. That was Ashley. She'd grabbed the phone. We're family. You can't just throw us out. Ashley, tell me something. Where's Ethan right now? What? Simple question. Where is my grandson? The one you left at the airport 2 days ago? She didn't answer. He's here. With me. Where he's safe and wanted and not treated like an inconvenience. Where he should have been all along. You're insane. We'll fight this. You'll what? Get a lawyer? With what money? The frozen bank accounts? The canceled credit cards? Or maybe you'll use the Audi I stopped paying for? Oh, wait. That doesn't have insurance? I could hear her breathing, sharp and angry. This is because of him, isn't it? Her voice was venomous. That kid has been a problem since day one. He needs discipline. That kid is your stepson, Travis's son, a child who lost his mother and deserved better than you. Travis, are you hearing this? Your father is choosing some brat over your own family. My family, I said quietly, is currently eating popcorn and watching movies in my living room. Your family is in a budget hotel room, trying to figure out how to pay for dinner. Very different situations. Ashley was screaming now, but Travis had taken the phone back. Dad, his voice shook. What do you want? What will it take to fix this? I looked at Ethan through the doorway, laughing at something on screen, relaxed in a way he never was around Ashley. I want you to think about what you've done. Both of you. I want you to think about what kind of man leaves his son behind so his new wife can have a perfect family photo. I want you to spend the next few days in that cheap hotel room, wondering how you're going to get home, where you're going to live. The way Ethan was left wondering in the airport? That's cruel. No, son. What's cruel is leaving a 10-year-old in an airport. What I'm doing? This is called consequences. I hung up. My hands shook slightly. Not from anger. That had cooled into something harder. From satisfaction. After 4 years of watching them take and take, I'd finally taken something back. My phone immediately started ringing. I powered it off. Later, I got an email from Lorena. Mr. Thornton, just wanted to let you know the guests moved to Garden View. They seemed quite distressed. I hope everything resolves well. I wrote back, Thank you, Lorena. Everything is resolving exactly as it should. Then I joined Ethan, and we watched the rest of the movie. He fell asleep against my shoulder halfway through, and I didn't move until credits rolled. Outside, the sun was setting over Orlando. In Hawaii, Travis and Ashley were facing their first real night in paradise without my money. And it was just the beginning. March 16th dawned clear in Orlando. I was making eggs when my phone buzzed with an email notification. Norman Gilbert, my attorney. Mr. Thornton, the notice to vacate was successfully delivered electronically at 8:47 a.m. Hawaii time. Per Florida statute, this initiates the 15-day notice period upon their return. I smiled. In Hawaii, it was 2:47 in the morning. They'd wake up to that email. What a way to start their day. Ethan came into the kitchen, hair sticking up. Morning, Grandpa. Morning, buddy. Eggs? Yes, please. Can I have the cheese kind? You can have anything you want. While he ate, I checked my messages. An automated notification from insurance confirming the Audi had been removed from my policy. A text from Patricia at the bank. The cosigner removal on Travis's car loan had been processed. Everything was falling into place. My phone rang around 10. Unknown Hawaii number. I let it ring through, then listened to the message. It was Travis. His voice was different now, hollow, defeated. Dad, we got the eviction notice. The email from your lawyer. I don't understand how it came to this. Ashley's trying to call her family, but nobody's answering. Insurance called about the Audi. The bank called about my car. Everything's falling apart. There was a long pause. Ashley was yelling in the background. We're coming home tomorrow. We found cheap tickets. I don't know what we're coming home to, but we're coming back. I hope this was worth destroying your relationship with your son. The message ended. I sat there, phone in hand. Worth it? I looked out at Ethan climbing the oak tree, fearless and laughing. A kid who'd been invisible in his own home, left in an airport like forgotten luggage. Yeah, it was worth it. Around noon, my phone rang again. Ashley's mother, Carol. I answered. Hello, Carol. Walter? Her voice was tight. Did you really leave Ethan at the airport? Actually, Carol, it was the other way around. Ashley left Ethan at the airport. I found him there, alone, crying, watching the plane fly away without him. Silence. She called me this morning, Carol said finally. Told me some story about you cutting off their money, canceling their vacation, evicting them. She wanted me to wire her cash. Said you'd gone crazy. Did you? No, because first I called Travis's sister, Amy, and Amy told me she'd gotten a very different phone call from you last week about what really happened. I'd forgotten about that call. Travis's sister and I had always gotten along. When I'd told her about Ethan, she'd been horrified. I'm ashamed, Carol continued, that my daughter could do something like that. To a child. To any child, but especially one who lost his mother so young. I appreciate you saying that. Ashley's been calling me every hour. I'm not answering. Neither is her sister. We both told her the same thing. Fix what you broke, or don't call us. Carol paused. That boy is welcome at my house anytime, Walter. Anytime at all. After we hung up, I sat back. I'd made that call to Carol a week ago, right after the airport, betting that a grandmother's heart would override any loyalty to Ashley. I'd laid out exactly what happened, provided the text Ashley had sent me, explained the years of small cruelties. I'd been right to bet on it. That afternoon, another voicemail from Travis. This one was shorter, more desperate. Dad, Ashley tried to call her mom, her sister. Nobody's picking up. How did you talk to them? What did you tell them? There was a bitter laugh. Of course you did. You planned all of this, didn't you? Every single piece. The cards, the hotel, the eviction notice, even poisoning Ashley's family against her. I told them the truth, son, I said to the empty kitchen. That's all I had to tell them. By evening, I'd gotten 6 more calls from Hawaii. The messages grew increasingly frantic. Ashley had apparently tried to book a hotel for when they got back to Orlando, only to find that, with no working credit cards, she couldn't put down a deposit. Travis's last message came at 8 p.m. We leave tomorrow morning, early flight. We'll be back by evening. Dad, please, whatever you're planning when we get there, please remember that Madison and Kyle are just kids. They didn't do anything wrong. He was right about that. Madison and Kyle were innocent, but they weren't my responsibility anymore. I texted back 4 words. Ethan is a kid too. The response came immediately. I know that now. Please. I didn't respond again. That night, I did something I enjoyed more than I should have. I went through the house, room by room, and boxed up everything that belonged to Travis, Ashley, Madison, and Kyle. Clothes, toys, toiletries, documents. I was methodical, labeling each box clearly. Ethan helped with some of it, though he didn't understand why. Are they moving, Grandpa? Yes, buddy. They need their own place. Oh, okay. He handed me another box. Are we staying here? We are. This is our house. Yours and mine. He smiled at that. Good. I like it here with you. By midnight, the living room was full of neatly stacked boxes. Everything they owned, packed and ready. I'd even printed out the eviction notice and taped it to the front door. I stood in the doorway, looking at my handiwork. 4 years they'd lived here. 4 years of taking my money, my home, my generosity, and giving nothing back except mistreatment of a child. Tomorrow, they'd walk through that door and see exactly how much power they'd never actually had. Tomorrow, the fantasy would end. March 17th, the day they came home. I knew their flight schedule. They'd land at 6:23 p.m., an hour through the airport, 30 minutes home. They'd arrive around 8. Ethan was at school, blissfully unaware. I'd arranged for him to sleep over at Tommy's. Whatever happened when Travis and Ashley walked through that door, I didn't want Ethan near it. At 3, my phone rang. Travis calling from Maui Airport. We're boarding soon. His voice was exhausted. Dad, what are we coming home to? The consequences of your actions. Can you just tell me what to expect? Your belongings are packed. The eviction notice is on the door. You have 15 days to find somewhere else. 15 days. He said it like a foreign language. Where are we supposed to go? That's not my problem anymore. We have kids. Madison and Kyle. You have 3 kids, I interrupted. You keep forgetting. Ethan is your child too. I know that. I think you've spent 4 years letting your wife treat him like he doesn't exist. I think you let her leave him in an airport and got on a plane without looking back. Silence. And now you're upset there are consequences, that the free ride is over. Dad, I'll see you at 8. I hung up. An hour later, Ashley called, voice shrill and desperate. Walter, you have to stop this. We have nowhere to go. No money, no credit cards. You have Travis's salary. You're adults. Figure it out. I can't believe you're doing this, after everything we've done for you. I laughed. Done for me? Let me read you something. In 4 years, you've cost me $214,000. Housing, car payments, insurance, credit cards, various loans. You've done nothing except take. We gave you family. We gave you grandchildren. You gave me access to grandchildren while systematically abusing one. That's not a gift, Ashley. That's hostage-taking. She started crying, big, dramatic sobs. My mother won't even talk to me. My sister hung up. What did you tell them? The truth, that you left a 10-year-old boy in an airport because he was inconvenient. He was being difficult. He's a child, Ashley. A child who'd already lost his mother. He didn't need to learn anything except that he was loved. Instead, you taught him he was disposable. The line went quiet. When you get here, I said, your things will be packed. Take them and go. You have 15 days, but I suggest you do it tonight. Travis won't let this happen. He's your son. Where was that spine when you were mistreating his firstborn? Where was it at the airport? I ended the call. The hours crawled. I made dinner but couldn't eat. Checked the boxes one more time. Confirmed Ethan was settled at Tommy's. At 7:45, a text from Travis. "We just landed." I texted back. "See you soon." Then I settled into my armchair with a book. Door unlocked, waiting. They arrived at I-17. I heard the rental car pull in. Car doors slammed. Madison's voice. "Why are there boxes?" The front door opened. I didn't look up. "Hello, Travis. Ashley." The silence was profound. They took in the scene. Stacked boxes, empty spaces, the eviction notice. "Dad," Travis said finally, "what have you done?" I marked my page. Travis looked terrible. Exhausted, unshaven. Ashley looked worse. Her facade cracked. Madison and Kyle stood behind them, confused. "I've packed your belongings. Everything is labeled." Ashley's face went from pale to red. "You can't do this. This is illegal." "It's completely legal. You're not tenants. You have no lease. You're guests who've overstayed their welcome." Travis moved forward. "Dad, please. We need time." "You have 15 days. That's what the law requires." 15 days to find a place, move, figure out our entire lives? You had 4 years to figure out your lives. You chose to spend them living off me. Ashley grabbed Travis's arm. "Don't beg him. We don't need his charity." I smiled. "Ashley, you've lived on my charity for your entire marriage. My house, my money, my cars, my insurance, everything you have, I gave you. And you repaid me by treating my grandson like garbage. Where is he?" Travis looked around. "Where's Ethan?" "Somewhere safe, away from you." That hit him. I could see it, of the realization that he'd lost more than a house. "I want to see him." "No, he's my son." "Then you should have acted like it." I stood. "Take your things and go. You have 3 hours." 3 hours? That's not enough." "Then come back tomorrow. But you will not sleep here tonight." Ashley started crying again, angry tears. "You vindictive old man. This is abuse." "This is justice." I looked at her directly. "You left a child in an airport. You sent me a text like it was nothing. Like he was nothing. Now you know what it feels like to have nowhere to go." The room fell silent except for Kyle crying. Travis's shoulders slumped. "We'll go to a hotel." "Good luck with that." They started loading boxes. 2 trips. I watched from the window as they packed up their lives. Before they left the second time, Travis came back inside alone. "Dad, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry about Ethan. About all of it. You're right. I should have protected him." "Yes, you should have. Can I see him, please?" I studied my son's face. For the first time in 4 years, I saw genuine remorse. "Not tonight, but soon, when I'm ready." He nodded and left. I watched them drive away, Ashley staring ahead, Madison and Kyle in the back, surrounded by boxes. Then I locked the door and sat in the quiet house. My phone buzzed. A text from Ethan. "Having fun at Tommy's. His mom says I can come over any time." I smiled. "That's great, buddy. See you tomorrow." Tomorrow we'd start fresh, just the 2 of us. Tonight, justice had been served. The next 2 weeks passed in strange peace. Ethan flourished like a plant finally moved into sunlight. He laughed more, talked more, started inviting friends over without asking permission. Travis called 3 times. I didn't answer. Ashley tried once. I hung up when I heard her voice. On April 5th, 3 weeks after the airport, Norman Gilbert called. "Mr. Thornton, your son has requested a meeting. He's retained counsel and wants to discuss custody for Ethan." "Does he now?" "He's also asking if reconciliation is possible. Between you 2, specifically." I looked at Ethan doing homework, humming to himself. "Tell him I'll meet. My terms, my office, my attorney present. Ashley stays away." "When?" "Tomorrow, 2 p.m. The next afternoon, Travis walked into Norman's office looking 5 years older. Wrinkled suit, crooked tie. The confident manager was gone. He sat across from me, Norman between us. "Dad." "Travis." Norman cleared his throat. "Mr. Thornton Jr. has prepared a statement." Travis pulled out paper, but his hands shook too badly to read it. He set it down. "I was a terrible father to Ethan. I let Ashley treat him like he didn't matter. I told myself it was adjustment. But I knew. I knew what she was doing, and I let it happen because it was easier." He looked at me directly. "The airport was the last straw. But it shouldn't have taken that. You did what I should have done years ago. You protected him." "Yes, I did. I want to see him. Regularly. I want to be his father again if he'll let me. And Ashley, His jaw tightened. We're in a 2-bedroom apartment in Kissimmee. She's working for the first time in 7 years. Madison and Kyle are adjusting. She blames me for not fighting you. I blame her for creating this. Sounds rough, I said without sympathy. It is, but that's our problem. What I'm asking is, can I see Ethan? Can I rebuild what I broke? I studied him. He looked sincere. Broken. Good. Here are my terms. First, Ethan lives with me. Full legal custody. You can petition for joint after a year. Travis nodded immediately. Agreed. Second, supervised visits. Weekly at my house with me present. After 6 months, we can discuss unsupervised. Okay. Third, you and Ashley enter family therapy. You're paying. We already started 2 weeks ago. That surprised me. Good. Fourth, and non-negotiable. Ashley does not come near Ethan. Not for visits, not for holidays. She's forfeited any relationship with him. Travis's face fell. Dad, that's going to be hard. She's still my wife. That's your problem to manage. Ethan is my priority, not your comfort. Take it or leave it. Norman slid a document across. I've drafted the custody agreement. Travis picked it up with trembling hands. I watched his face as he realized how thoroughly I'd won. Legal custody, supervised visits, therapy requirements, everything spelled out, giving him almost nothing. He picked up the pen. One question. Is Ethan okay? Is he happy? He's better than okay. He's thriving. Travis's eyes went red, but he didn't cry. He just signed, each signature looking like it cost him something. You can see him Saturday, 2 p.m. Don't be late. Travis stood. Thank you, Dad, for protecting him when I wouldn't. Don't thank me. Show me. Show up. Be present. Be the father he needs. He nodded and left. Norman waited. That went better than expected. He's lost everything. The least he can do is be a decent father. And if he isn't, then the agreement gives me power to cut him off completely. I smiled. I learned my lesson about being too trusting. That evening I sat Ethan down. Your dad wants to see you. He'd like to visit on Saturdays. Ethan was quiet. Do I have to? No. Never. But I think he's trying, buddy. He made bad choices, but he's your dad. What about Ashley? Ashley won't be coming around, ever. Ethan's shoulders relaxed. Okay, then maybe I'll see Dad, if you're there too. I'll be right there, always. Saturday came. Travis arrived at 1:58 p.m., carrying a wrapped present. Hi, Dad. Travis. I let him in. Ethan was building with Legos. He looked up, hope, fear, anger, sadness, all crossing his face. Hey, Ethan, Travis said quietly. Hi. I brought you something. He held out the present. Ethan unwrapped it slowly. Inside was a photo album. Pictures of Julia, his late mother. Ethan as a baby. The treehouse. Page after page of memories. I should have shown you these long ago, Travis said. Your mom loved you so much. I'm sorry I let you forget that. I'm sorry I let anyone make you feel like you didn't belong. Ethan's lip trembled. Why did you leave me at the airport? Travis knelt down. Because I was weak. Because I let someone else decide what mattered more than you. And that was wrong. Unforgivable. I know sorry doesn't fix it, but I'm going to try to do better, if you'll let me. They talked for an hour. I stayed in the kitchen, close enough to intervene, letting them have their moment. When Travis left, Ethan held the photo album like treasure. Grandpa? Yeah, buddy. I think maybe it'll be okay. With Dad. Maybe it will. That night on the porch with my beer, I allowed myself satisfaction. 3 weeks ago, they'd left a child in an airport. Now Travis was rebuilding what he'd destroyed. Ashley was facing consequences. And Ethan was safe. Justice wasn't always fast, but when it arrived, it tasted sweet. 2 months later, life had settled into unexpected normalcy. Travis came every Saturday. The first visits were awkward, but slowly he and Ethan rebuilt their relationship. They'd play games, work on homework, talk about school and friends. Travis never mentioned Ashley. Ethan never asked. I'd heard through Amy that things were rough in the Kissimmee apartment. Ashley was miserable at her dental job, constantly complaining about working. She and Travis fought constantly. Madison and Kyle struggled with the change from big house to cramped apartment. I felt no sympathy whatsoever. On a warm evening in early June, I was on the porch with Ethan. We'd started a tradition, ice cream after dinner, watching the sunset. "Grandpa?" Ethan asks, working on his second scoop of Rocky Road. "Yeah, buddy." "Why did they do it? Why did they leave me at the airport?" I'd been waiting for this question. You know what I think? Being a family isn't about whose blood you share. It's about who shows up. Who's there when things are hard? Who puts you first? You put me first. I did. Because that's what people do for the ones they love. He was quiet. Do you think Ashley ever loved me? That one was harder. I think Ashley loved the idea of a perfect family more than she loved the actual people in it. And when you didn't fit her picture, she decided you were the problem. But here's the thing. You were never the problem. You were never too much, or too difficult, or not good enough. Ashley just didn't know how to love someone who wasn't exactly what she wanted. That's sad. It is, for her. I'm glad I'm here with you. Me too, buddy. Me too. We sat as the sun painted the sky orange and pink, and I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Complete peace. The house was ours. The future was ours. Nobody was taking that away. The doorbell rang around 8. I wasn't expecting anyone. Travis stood there, alone. "Can we talk?" I let him in. Ethan was upstairs playing video games. "I wanted to tell you in person. Ashley and I are separating. She's moving in with her sister in Tampa. Papers will be filed next week." "I'm not surprised. She never got over what you did. She blames you for everything, losing the house, the cars, the lifestyle. She can't accept that her own actions caused this. Some people never do. I know you don't care, but I need to say it. You were right. About everything. About her. About how she treated Ethan. About me being too weak to stop it. You did what needed to be done. I did what any decent person would have done. I protected a child." He nodded. "Ethan's different now. Happier. More confident. He talks about his friends. His school. He never did that before. Because he was too busy trying to be invisible?" "Yeah." Travis looked at me directly. "I failed him as a father, but I'm asking for a chance to make it right, to be part of his life, to show him I can be better." I thought about the boy upstairs who'd been abandoned and had every reason to never trust again. Keep coming on Saturdays. Keep being consistent. Keep putting him first. And in 6 months, we'll talk about expanding the arrangement. "Thank you, Dad. Don't thank me. Thank him. He's the one giving you another chance." After Travis left, I went upstairs. Ethan was sprawled on his bed, controller in hand. "Hey, champ, your dad stopped by." "I know. I heard." He paused his game. "He's getting divorced, isn't he?" "Yeah, he is." "Is that my fault?" "No. That's between your dad and Ashley. You're not responsible for their choices." "Good. Because I was worried I'd feel bad, but I don't." "Is that wrong?" "No, buddy. That's not wrong at all." He went back to his game, and I stood watching him. This kid who'd been discarded, made to feel small and unwanted, who'd sat alone in an airport, he was going to be okay. Better than okay. That night, after Ethan slept, I sat in my study and pulled out the file, the house deed, the financial records, the text from Ashley. Decided he's grounded and stays home. Bye. I'd kept everything as a reminder that silence isn't strength, that keeping the peace isn't worth losing yourself, that sometimes the kindest thing is cutting out the rot before it spreads. 4 months ago, I'd been a doormat, an ATM with a heartbeat, someone who'd avoid conflict rather than stand up. Now, I was a grandfather raising his grandson in the home I'd built, on my terms. I was someone who'd found the one solution that would work, complete demolition followed by careful rebuilding. Travis would earn his way back slowly. Ashley would face consequences, and Ethan would grow up knowing at least one person had loved him, enough to burn it all down to keep him safe. I pulled out my phone and looked at yesterday's photo. Ethan and me at the park, both laughing. His smile was genuine, reaching his eyes, no shadows. That smile was worth every uncomfortable conversation, every burned bridge, every dollar it cost me. Justice wasn't always swift, but when it finally arrived, it was delicious. I closed the file and locked it away. I didn't need it anymore. The story was written, the ending clear. An old man, a wounded boy, and a decision that changed everything. Sometimes the greatest revenge is simply refusing to let cruelty win. If you like this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your impressions of this story in the comments. To listen to the next story, click on the box on the left. Thank you for watching,